We're going to talk indices, we're going to talk stocks and crypto. In this video, I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education, and somebody asked me today, do you have any more Christmas dad jokes? And I said, I think I have one that will slay. All right, in this video, like I said, we're going to talk indices. We have SPY, QQQ. As for the stocks, we have Palantir update, SOFI update, Google update, Tesla update, NVIDIA update, ExxonMobil update, and then also in crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Avalanche. Like this is a huge video. It's enormous, and I'm going to fit in as many song references as I can think of as I get through, but I do get caught up in the stock stuff quite a bit, so who knows if I'll be thinking about the songs. All I can say is this video is everything you want. It's everything you need, and I still cannot sing to save my life. I will tell you how I'm playing this market later on in this video through my Patreon and then also my options course and about the free stocks from Moomoo. In the meantime, though, you guys came here for the charts, so let's show you those charts that I have for you. So let's start off with SPY. There we go. All right, so here we're looking at the S&P 500's ETF, SPY, as we look at this. So the spider SPY, there we go. So when we look at this, we peaked out today. Where do we find that high price? We found it at 473. And looking at the momentum for this, we are still in the overbought territory, but with no signs of decline yet. We wouldn't be watching for that, especially if the price movement goes up. Actually, let me draw on the chart rather than gesturing for this thing. If we see the price move up like this, and similarly, we watch the momentum go like this, that would be bearish divergence. My goodness, I can't speak. Bearish divergence. And if so, that could be a very strong signal to us that the markets are going to sell off. And I do expect that at some point in time that we actually do see some of that market weakness come in, that people are taking those profits and collecting them. It could happen over the next 2 weeks. I still think that we have higher highs yet to come in the market. We're going to have to watch and see if that happens. And if I do go out to a weekly basis on this, we are just in that overbought territory. There we go. Let me get rid of that. Come on, my coordination. Don't fail me now. I know what the problem is. Boom, boom, boom. It's not just me. There we go. All right. So we got our first warning shot on a weekly basis for the RSI. For SPY, if we go out to QQQ, we have a very similar story, and I still think we have higher highs yet to come for this, even if we do come back and retest support. And I would much rather we have a cooling down with what's happening with the momentum in the first place, so that way we can reposition ourselves and get ready to go, because I can tell you that I did get caught behind the markets a little bit today, and man, oh man, was that trouble. Man, I missed a lot of the pops that were out there, and there were some stocks that were really running, the things I want to take a position on early on, but sometimes the mornings are as they are, and work goes as it goes. Once I'm doing this full time, then I'll be in the markets pretty much every day of the year for every trading day that's out there. And that'll be incredible, because then I can be there for more of those opportunities. So the indices, that's what I got for you. I do think higher highs are on their way. These next 2 weeks, I think, can be a mixed bag. I think that it'd be nice to see some cooling off, followed by the rest of the rally that we're going to see. And I still think that can happen through January. I don't think that the market is done with its run yet. We're going to have to wait and see. I do think that we are in that cash deployment zone. I do not think we're in risk on yet, but that is something to watch for. If we see bond yields start to rise a little bit or maybe steady out and the markets continue upward, that could be a little bit more signs of risk on. But with bond yields as high as they are right now, rising bond yields can also be something that causes the market to sell off more. So we got to be careful with that. So that if you want to hear more about that, watch my video from this morning, and then you'll get further commentary on that one. Palantir, where did Palantir put us today? I'll tell you what. Palantir did not look very pretty when we look at this one. So today we dropped about 2%. That puts us to the bottom of this trend line that I have on here for you. So we still are in the bullish channel, but man, we're at the bottom of it. And let's go down to the hourly, because I believe that this is the one that I was looking at, that on the hourly, we actually have a head and shoulders play here. So is support going to hold tomorrow? Are we going to have this trend line as support, or tomorrow we're going to break through it and we're going to revisit 17, possibly even lower from there? We're going to have to wait and see what exactly happens. I did talk about believing that we could move in a bullish direction. The fact that we peaked out today and then sold off, making this head and shoulders formation pop up here, leads me to believe that it is possible that we head down next instead of up, but we're going to have to watch for that one. So I did want to put out that warning for Palantir. I did not take a position on it because the signals for the bullish direction just were not there. I was looking to go up above that 1858 line, and I also wanted to see the RSI crack 50. It got near there and sort of turned back around on us. So I am watching the RSI for the momentum. I am watching the price. I am watching the supports and resistances that we have out there. And I don't think it's out of the race yet, but it's definitely worth mentioning. So let's move on from there over to SOFI. So when we look at SOFI, you can see the support lines, resistance lines that we have on here. Today was a good day for SOFI. We actually have a bullish engulfing candle today The trouble is we are way in that overbought territory. It is possible that we still hit $10 before we refer back to $9, which is all the way back here. So I think that bet is still a reasonable one, that we could see a little bit more come out of this. We did get really close today. We peaked out today at $9.79. So 21 cents away from that $10 mark. And then I do think that we're going to retrace back. We probably revisit 9, maybe even a little under, but we're going to have to watch what the market does on this one. I am a long-term investor in SOFI. I do hold them directly in my portfolio, and I will play options on them as I see fit and as I see necessary. Let's move on to Google, because Google actually did take a position on today. I took a 135 call for January the 19th. And so for this one, this is something we have to watch out for, because for market bias, the Qs and the SPY are already at the top. And we could at any point in time start to see that ticking back downwards on those. So we're going to have to watch. So for Google, the RSI is great right now. We crossed up over 50. Nice strong volume day on Friday with the triple witching. And then in today, the volume was half decent. We had a good movement. You can see this trend line I drew in here that we didn't really have before today happen. But we hit that high price that puts a trend line across these top 3 peaks here. Shows us a little bit of hidden resistance that we have on there. Breaking up above that is a bullish thing. Should we move up to 140? That's going to be very profitable for me for the option. But should we break above 140, then we have room up to that 150 mark. That could be very, very profitable. We're going to have to watch and see. I will exit that position most likely should we drop down below that 133 mark, which is right about where I have my cursor at right now. So I do want to put that out there, that there are no guarantees about which way it's going to go. We are up above the 50 EMA and SMA. We are in this narrowing zone right here, and we could watch for that break in either direction happening for that. So it actually is something that I could possibly even take a longer term option on this, or I could wait until we see a break above this top trend line or down below this bottom trend line and then play a call or a put accordingly based on what we see there. So I did want to tell you about that, and I did post it over at the Patreon. If you want to see my buys and sells, find that Patreon link down in the description. Come on over to the Discord and check it out. Got an awesome community over there, growing very fast. Really awesome, friendly, supportive people that are over there. I'd love to have you as part of it. Moving on to Tesla. Tesla actually did break up above the resistances that we had, and the first target of 260. Man, we got close to that today. 258.74 was the high price that we hit. Now, if I zoom in on this thing, look at that high wick that we have here. That is possible downward pressure for us showing up by the bears that they start to win out as we get near that 260. So that's something to watch out for. We are up above the 50-day EMA and SMA. We are out of the bearish channel, but we do want to keep an eye on what's happening with those prices. We could fall back as far as 250. Below that's 245. And then we have these old trend lines themselves that we want to watch out for. They can be support for us right around that 240 mark. In the near term, I do think that 245 could be that turnaround spot if we break 250. So we want to watch for that. And like I said, the market cooling in general could be a good thing from here. So that's what I see for Tesla. Let's go over to one that I'm very excited about. Let me pop myself back up over here, because I said that for this next stock, and maybe you could see it at the top of your screens if you go back and take a look at it, I said that we could possibly see a cup and a handle pop out of this thing, indicating that we have a bullish movement on it. And so far we have the cup, but not the handle. So there's no confirmation. We don't know that I'm right, but I am watching it to see how it shapes up for us, to see if we get that handle part of it coming out. Because if it does, that can be a very bullish sign for us. The momentum is just right. So let me pop that up there. Here's NVIDIA. Look at this part on the daily chart that we have right here. And let me see how good my right-handed art skills are, because I am left-handed, but I got right-handed mouse. There we go. There's the cup of it. And right here, resistance at 500. If we go intraday, check this out. Let's go down to the minute chart real quick, just so that you can see this. Zoom out. There we go. So we can see more of it. Right there is that 500 mark. And we had a double peak on that thing. You can even see that I called for that inverse head and shoulders. And we did break above the neckline that was around 498 or 499. And then at 499, we made it up to 500. Just couldn't break it. Took a lot of consolidation throughout the day, a little bit of accumulation taking place here, and then boom, we hit above that 500. And where do we peak out on this thing? Let's actually go back to the daily chart and we'll look at that. 504 something. There we are. So we'll zoom back in on this, and then we'll talk about that high price that we hit today, which is not their all-time high, but it's darn close. 504.33, all-time high on this thing. 505.44, and then the next high price after that is 505.13. So we're really darn close. So I have this moved up here to about $504, and so I think that's going to be the top of the cup. It is possible, especially if the market does sell off, that we start to taper off this way. Let me grab my paintbrush. Looks like I have it on. That we start to taper off this way, And this height of the cup right here is what you want to pay attention to, because wherever we start to break out from that handle, we can actually have that same height. As a matter of fact, let me do it this way for you. Let me change my tooling here, and I'll click on that, and I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it, and then I'm going to take that pasted version of it, maybe. Try one more time, pasted version of it. There we go. And we could have that breakout to the upside, depending on wherever it's at. Now, that doesn't look like too much of a movement, but that does put us up around $525 per share. Now, mind you, that's not much to pay attention to. And now, mind you, I think $525 is a reasonable price. That's 5% up above the 500 mark that we have. And NVIDIA is just a rock star and a champion of a company. And they keep on putting out the numbers, and we just need the market to hold up its bias to keep those multiples going. And we also have some headwinds of competition, AMD and Intel. People want to see what's going on there, and that's mitigating the price a little bit, plus the China headwinds as well. What exactly is that going to do to the revenue? Right now, I think that we're in solid shape because it seems like they can't produce fast enough. They can't keep their parts in stock long enough, and people are looking for alternatives, and so they're going out to like AMD and Intel where they can't get the NVIDIA parts. So NVIDIA, I remain bullish on it. We have the cup part of this. We do. We have resistance around still 500, which is actually now support, because I believe that, let me see, we closed at 577. There you go. So I'm not going to call it resistance broken. Still 500 as resistance for right now. We kind of peekabooed above it a little bit for the close, not as much as I would like to be comfortable saying that resistance at 500 is broken. So I'm going to keep that up there. Time will tell if we get that handle on it. Maybe we just blast on through and we never even get the cup and handle in the first place. But should we see the cup and handle shape up and we see that break to the upside from that handle, that could be the indication that we have that bullish movement to the upside. And I think then we strongly move up above 500, and we'll see what we get out of that. And it should be a good move for us. So from the top of this, by the way, that's a 500-ish, to the bottom of this thing is about 455. So that's $45 from bottom to top of that thing. So from wherever we go, so let's say we came back to another area of support right around 480, plus that 45, there's your 525 that would pop out of it. That's just something to pay attention to as you look at it. So I'm going to switch over to crypto in just 1 second, but I did want to take a moment to tell you the Patreon, like I said, my buys and sells are over there. I talked about Tesla and NVIDIA in this video, and I'm going to update my Tesla and NVIDIA spreadsheets, my stock price predictions, and my earnings projections for both those companies in the very near future here. I plan to do it either at the end of December here or early January, so that way it's out in time for both those earnings and for people to position themselves accordingly should they like that research and if it fits into their due diligence and they want to take those positions. Never tell you what to buy or sell. I do have my options course available over at the Patreon as well, still building it out for you. You can see September 18th, I have the update. I actually have the next video recorded that has some of the applications in it, and I can't wait to put those up for all of you. And then also the free stocks from Moomoo. Find that link down in the description. Use the necessary deposit levels of $100 or $1,000 to get up to your 15 free stocks and enjoy 5.1% APY on your unused cash. All right, so I'm going to bring that down. And like I said, I'm going to pop up crypto because today was actually a really interesting day. I don't know, if you follow these, I'm going to put up a Bitcoin, Ethereum, and also Avalanche, as I mentioned before. So let me put this up here. We'll wrap it up with some crypto as we talk about, oh, I forgot about ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil, by the way, just real quick, did pop up out of this descending wedge, quickly ripped back down and closed just below support at that 101 level. We actually closed this thing at 101.65, and I thought 102 would be where that support was found, but we do have the trend line as support, so it is possible that we start to break out of that. We don't quite have confirmation of that breakout, but it is getting pretty close. Should oil continue to rebound, ExxonMobil should also rebound with it. That could be a decent play for us. So crypto. Here we go. We are looking at the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin. And look at this. We actually broke down out of that formation. Check out the support that we caught at 41.1. We peekabooed out of this down to $40,500-ish on this one. And then we rallied since that time and on good volume. Check out the RSI. So the 4-hour chart, Bitcoin is looking solid. I still think that it's possible that 50K is in the cards prior to that January 5th through 10th. So we need to watch for that, and we also need to watch what the market's doing. If we go into that risk-on scenario that we're not just putting out some cash and it's not just the Bitcoin ETF as a potential catalyst or the news of it or the decision on it being that catalyst, but should we actually go risk-on in that risk-on environment, at least for the short term through the end of December into January, whenever we see that, if we see it at all, Bitcoin should do very well for us. And we actually, should we break up above 45,000, we have 48,000, and 50,000 is just around the corner from that. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin, and finding this support as we have down here is a very, very positive thing for us. As a matter of fact, we can even draw another support line on there. It looks like about $40,800 per Bitcoin would be where that would be. Ethereum had a very similar day, and Bitcoin still being the champ out there. Look at that inverse head and shoulders that we had with the neckline around 2177, 2175, somewhere around that price. And man, we broke up above that and rocket. Now we're finding resistance at the bottom of this trend line. We are breaking up above that, and this is still the 4-hour chart, so that candle closed above it. And so we'll happen to see, since we're back into this formation, where those other trend lines end up for support and resistance for us. But Bitcoin should lead the way, and then the altcoin rally should follow. That's if we enter that risk-on environment, or if we see more hype leading up to that Bitcoin ETF decision. I think that there will be a significant sell to follow, just so that we're clear on that. So that sell, when I say to follow, I don't mean between the 5th and 10th. That sell could possibly happen before we even get to the 5th. So as we near that date, I think the likelihood of a sell for Bitcoin goes along with it. Should the Bitcoin ETF, if the news comes out as approval, I think we'll see a skyrocketing Bitcoin's price. So we're going to be on the lookout for that one and see how that goes. Now, Avalanche, I know there's a lot of people who this is very popular with, and in the comments, I was just responding to my comments before I did this video. Check out the head and shoulders that we have here. I said in the comments that we just butted up against resistance that we have. So you can see that resistance coming in at, it looks like I have the line at 41.35. And then we just came up, we smooched that line, and I haven't moved it since I made the video on Avalanche. And you can see right now that we're getting rejected off of that. The momentum is good. We're up above the 50-day simple moving average. For right now, we're actually kind of right at it, just so you know, as I record this video. We're up above the 50 EMA. That's also here as well, and we're up above the 200-day, which is also, 200-hour as we look at this. This is the hourly chart that we're looking at. My apologies. We're up above that 200-hour, the 50-hour, and the 50-hour EMA, which is still a bullish thing for us. And the EMA, it'd be nice if it wasn't so flat right now. We actually want to see it sloped upward. Positive slope would be a good thing. The volume's good, the momentum's good, and we should possibly, or could possibly, I should say, especially with Bitcoin leading the way, it is possible that we push on through that. And you can see the bullish channel that I have on here for Avalanche. And it is possible that should we see Bitcoin go up to that 50K mark, then that 52, that almost sounded like I said Kmart. There we go. That 52 mark that I have on here, or darn close to it, could be something that also happens should we pop through the top, because I know that Avalanche is one that's highly sought after by a select group of people, and they're very excited to see this movement come to it. So, mind you, I still need to brush up on my crypto research. It's been a while since I did it, and making it back to the markets, back to YouTube in January, and being able to keep up with everyone and everything. I got the markets under wraps. Now it's time to start bringing crypto back to it. I'm very excited about that. So, let me summarize this thing for you guys. The markets, they could sell off in the short term. I think that there's a little bit more of a rally left to go, that we start to see some higher highs, even beyond what we've already put in. I think that it could possibly in the cards for us, especially if we go on a risk-on environment. If we go risk-on, that also includes a pump for the crypto assets as well. And like I said, right now, I think that we're seeing cash deployment go into the markets, but that we haven't quite hit that risk-on period yet where people are dumping bonds. As a matter of fact, I think they're going into bonds and treasuries because of the high yields that are out there right now. And right now that cash is just flowing into the markets. So I expect that there's going to be some profit taking, probably some selling, some rotating that we see in people's portfolios. So it'd be a little bit mixed, maybe over the next 2 weeks, maybe it rallies, who knows? But I do think that we still have higher highs coming up. I would like to see a retest of support, especially in the major indices, prior to heading back upward. And that would allow us to reposition ourselves rather than trying to take long positions while the markets are overbought, which is always a dangerous thing. Let me know what you guys think of these companies down in the comments. If there's other companies that you're interested in, go ahead and put those down there as well. I'd love to hear about them. That could actually be a nice weekend homework thing for me. I was thinking just this past weekend, by the way, as I read the comments and read the different things people say, it'd be nice just to pull up, write down those stocks. Weekend comes along, pull them up, talk about them. That could be a nice way to give extra service to the people who care enough to watch this channel, actually leave some nice comments. So thank you all. You're wonderful people. I really do appreciate it. Remember that link for the Patreon down in the description. Come on over and join the community, see my buys and sells, and then also your Moomoo free stocks. Go ahead and check that link out as well. Thank you guys. And as always, I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.